psychologists don't think holistically. Are only concerned with solving individual problems.
Yes, they are concerned with solving individual problems.
So therefore they're not thinking human suffering as a whole.
Right.
A particular suffering of X who is very depressed.
Right. For particular reasons.
For particular reasons.
Right.
We don't inquire into what is depression, why human beings all over the world are depressed.
Or we don't try and tackle that as a single problem. We try and tackle it with this particular individual who comes in.
Therefore, you're still really, if I may point out, I may be wrong.
Yes.
You are emphasizing his particular suffering, and so sustaining it.
Now, can we get clear on that?
I come to you.
Yes.
I'm depressed.
Yes.
For various reasons which you know.
Yes.
And you tell me, by talking to me, etc., the whole business of coming to you and all that, you tell me, my depression is the depression of the world.
Yeah, I don't tell you that. I tell you that your depression...
That's what, when you tell me that, are you not helping me to carry on with this individualistic depression, and therefore my depression, not your depression,
yes,
is my depression, which I either cherish or want to dissolve.
Yes.
Which means I'm only concerned with myself.
Yes.
Myself, I come back to that.
Yes, it's within the context of yourself.
Self.
Yeah.
So you're helping me to be more selfish, if I may.
Yes.
More self-concerned, more self-committed.
It is approached within the context of the self. But I would think that I'm helping you to be less self-concerned, because when you're not depressed, then you don't have to be self-concerned. You feel better and you're able to relate to people more.
But again, on a very superficial level.
Meaning that I leave the self intact.
Intact.
Yes.
Yes, well, I feel that people generally wouldn't accept this, that the self is not there, you see, which is what you're implying, that the self is rather unimportant, but rather the assumption is that the self is really there and it has to be improved, you see. And if you say
that's it.
A certain amount of self-centeredness, people would say, is normal.
Yes, sir.
It's only to keep it within reason, right?
Right.
Now
modify selfishness, right? Continue with selfishness.
Yes.
But go slow.
But I think you're saying something which is very radical then, because very few people have entertained the notion of no self-centeredness.
That's it.
That's right. It isn't entertained.
Maybe a few, but...
Yeah. For biological reasons and because of the universality of the phenomenon.
Well...
And because it isn't even seen as relevant, really.
I think most people feel that's the way things are, and that's the only way.
Yeah.
That means status quo, modified status quo.
Yeah.
Yes.
To me, that seems so irrational.
But you must feel that it's possible to be different. You say at least more than feel, but in some sense there must be some reason why you say this, right?
I see what?
Why you feel so different from other people about it?
It seems so practical, first of all. The way we live is so impractical. The wars, the accumulation of armaments is totally impractical.
That wouldn't be an argument, you see, because people say, we all understand that, but since that's the way we are, there's nothing else is possible. You see, you really are challenging the notion that that is the way we are, or we have to be.
I don't quite follow this. We are what we are.
If people say we are individuals separate, and there's nothing, we'll just have to fight and make the best of it.
Yes.
But you are saying something different. I mean,
Yes.
namely, you're not accepting that.
All right. You don't accept it, but will you listen? Will the people who don't accept it, will they give their minds to find out? Right?
Right.
Or say, please, we don't want to listen to you. This is what we think, buzz off. That's what most people do.
Well, this question isn't even raised usually.
Yeah, of course.
Now, why do you think that the selfish activity isn't necessary?
I don't know, sir. First of all, do we accept the condition that we are in? Do we accept it? And say, please, we can only modify it, it can never be changed. It can never be, one can never be free from this anxiety, depression, modified always from agony of life. You follow? This process of going through tortures in oneself. That's normal. Accept it. Modify it. Live a little more quietly, and so on and so on. If you accept that, the argument, we can't, there's no communication between us. But if you say, I know my condition, I may, tell me, let's just talk about whether one can be free from it. Then we have a relationship. Then we can communicate with each other. But we say, sorry, shut the door on my face, and it's finished.
So there are some people who accept this and say we can't change it. But there are other people, and I would say that some of the most inspiring leaders of the different religions of the world are among them, who have said we can change it.
Yes.
There is a way beyond this.
Yes.
Now, since religions have wide followings, and since their doctrines are widely dispersed, there are in fact large numbers of people in our society, and in every society, who do think it can be changed. Because all religions hold out the prospect of a change and of going beyond this condition.
Yes. But I would like to know, when you use the word religion, is it the organized religion? Is it the authoritarian religion? Is it the religion of belief, dogma, rituals, all that?
Well,
or religion in the sense, the accumulation of energy to find whether it's possible to be free. You understand my question?
yes. Well, I think the second, but I think that if we look into the history of the organized religions and people within them, we see that much of the inspiration for them was in fact that second kind of religion, which still within their framework still survives, I think. But it's also something which has often been corrupted and debased and turned into yet another system of dogmas, conditioning, and so on. But I think within all religious traditions, that this second kind of religion you talk about has been kept alive. And I think that the impetus in all the great religions of the world has been that vision. It's then been debased and degraded in various ways. But this vision has never left any of these religions. There are still people within them, I think, who still have it. And this is the inner life that keeps them going, over and above the simple political power and all the rest of it.
I know. But suppose a man like me rejects tradition, rejects anything that has been said about truth, about God, whatever it is, the other side. I don't know. The other people say, yes, we have this and that. So how am I, as a human being who has really rejected all this? Tradition, the people who have said there is, and the people who have said that's all nonsense, people who have said we have found that it is, and so on, so on. If you wipe all that out and say, look, I must find out, not as an individual, can I find, can this truth or this bliss, this illumination, can come without depending on all that. See, if I'm anchored, for example, in Hinduism, with all the, not the superficiality of it, not all the rituals and all the superstitions. If I'm anchored in the religious belief of a Hindu, of a real Brahmin, I'm always anchored. And I may go very far, but I'm anchored there. That's not freedom. Because there must be freedom to discover this or come upon this.
Yes.
So we're going a little bit too far.
No, but I would then go back and say, well, you put forward the question of the man who rejects all these traditions. You said, let us suppose that I'm a man who's rejected all these traditions. I would then say, well, what reason do you have for rejecting all these traditions in such a way?
Well, that seems to be the part of the problem that we've arrived at. If we've said that man is conditioned biologically and socially by his family, the tradition is part of that. We've said that that's the problem that we're up against now. Is it possible for him to change his nature, or do we have to deal with each of these problems particularly as they come up?
Well, what I was saying is that at the inner core of all the great religions of the world is a vision of this possibility of a transformation, whether it's called salvation or liberation or nirvana or what. There's this vision. Now, there have always been people within those religions who've had this vision and lived this vision. Now, they...
Sorry, go on. I'm sorry.
Well, perhaps part of your radical rejection of all religion involves denying that. But if so, I would say, why? Why should we be so radical as to deny...
I question whether they're really... I may be sacrilegious, I may be an infidel, non-believer. I wonder if I am anchored to a certain organized belief, whether I can ever find the other. If I'm a Buddhist, for example, I believe that the Buddha is my savior. Suppose I believe that. And that has been told to me from childhood. My parents have been Buddhists and so on, so on, so on. And as long as I have found that security in that idea, or in that belief, in that person, there's no freedom.
No, but it's possible that you can move beyond that framework, you see. Starting from within it, that you can move beyond it.
That means I wipe out everything.
It means you wipe it out. But there's a difference between an approach where you wipe it out from the beginning.
From the beginning I'm talking.
And an approach where you start within it and go beyond it.
You see that? Wait, yes, I know this well-known argument. Which is important, breaking down all the barriers at the beginning, not at the end. I'm a Hindu. I see what Hinduism is, a lot of all the rest of it. And why should I go through number of years to be ended? Why can't I finish it the first day?
Because I think you'd have to reinvent and rediscover for yourself a great many things that you would be able to get through more quickly if you didn't.
No, his question is, I am a living human being in relationship with him or with her. in that relationship I'm in conflict. He says, don't go about religion and illumination and nirvana and all the rest of it. Transform this, live rightly here, then the door is open.
Yes, but surely isn't that easier said than done?
Uh-huh.
Easier said than done. I mean,
I know it's easier said than done, therefore, let's find out. Let me find out with him or with you or with her how to live in this world without conflict. Right, sir?
That's what we're asking.
Can I find out? Or is that impossible?
We don't know.
No, therefore we start, we don't know.
Okay.
So let's inquire into that. Because if my relationship with life is not right in course for the moment, how can I find out something that's immensely beyond all this, beyond time, beyond thought, beyond measure? I can't. Till we have established right relationship between us, which is order, how can I find that which is supreme order? So I must begin with you, not with that. I don't know if you're meeting me.
no, I would have thought that you could easily argue the other way around.
Of course.
Until you have that, you can't get this right, because the whole history of man shows that starting just from...
And therefore you invent that. You invent something illogical, may not be true, maybe just invention of thought, and you imagine that to be order and hope that order will filter into you. It seems so illogical, irrational, whereas this is so rational.
But is it possible?
That is it. Let's find out.
But you've now completely reversed your argument to start with, you see. He started with the patient coming to the psychiatrist's office who wants to get his relationships right, get the human relationships out of this state of disorder and conflict into something that's more
I am
tolerable.
not sure this way, forgive me, doctor, if I'm blundering into where the angels fear to tread.
Okay.
I question whether I'm doing right.
But they're doing just what you said now, starting with the relationship and not going to these bigger questions.
Whether they are really concerned with bringing about a right relationship between human beings, fundamentally, not superficially, just to adjust themselves for the day.
I don't think that you're denying that larger questions are involved in that. You're just saying that we shouldn't invent ideas about what a solution would be like.
Yes. I come to you, sir, let's wait a minute.
Okay.
I come to you with my problem.
Yeah.
I cannot get on with somebody, or I'm terribly depressed, or something dishonest in me. I pretend.
Yeah.
I come to you. You are concerned to tell me, become more honest. But not find out what is real honesty.
And don't we get into the problem of creating the idea of real honesty at this point?
No, it's not an idea. I'm dishonest.
Yes.
You inquire why I'm dishonest.
Yes.
Go penetrate into me, disturb me. Don't pacify me.
Yeah.
Don't help me to say, but be a little more honest and a little more this or that. But shake me so that I find out what is real honesty is.
Okay, that's...
I may disturb I may break away from you follow, from
Yes.
my conditioning, from my wife, from my parents, anything. You don't disturb me.
No, that's
That's just my point.
I do disturb you.
Partially.
Well, what?
You disturb me in order to conform to little adjustments.
Well, let's look at that.
Sorry.
I disturb you to conform to little adjustments.
Yes. You don't say to me, look, you're dishonest, let's go into it.
I do say that.
No, but go into it so that he's totally honest.
Well, how deeply do I need to go into it so that I have disturbed you totally?
Yeah. So you tell me, do it now, sir.
Okay, you come in and I in our talks we've noticed that the thing that you are up to is that you are always trying to find some other person to make your life be whole.
Yes, I depend on somebody.
Yes, deeply.
Deeply.
And you don't even know that.
Yes.
So I disturb you. I tell you that
Yeah.
that's what's going on. I show you you're doing it with me.
Yes.
I show you you're doing it with your husband.
Yes.
Now, is that sufficiently deep?
No.
Why?
What have you shown me? A verbal picture.
No, not verbal. Not verbal.
Wait.
Okay.
A verbal picture,
Yeah.
an argument, a thing which tells me that I'm dishonest. Or whatever you tell me. That leaves me where?
Well, if it's verbal, it just gives you more knowledge about yourself.
That's all. Knowledge about myself.
Yeah.
Will knowledge transform me?
No.
No. Be careful, sir. Careful. Then why do I come to you?
Well, not so that I can give you knowledge. You come thinking that maybe somehow I have some answers because because the society is set up
Why
so that...
don't you tell me, boy, do it yourself, don't depend on me. Go into it. Find out. Stir.
Okay, I tell you that. I tell you, go into it yourself. And you say to me,
I can't do
I
it.
don't know what you're talking about.
That's just it.
Yeah.
So how will you help me to go into myself and not depend on you? You understand my question?
Yes.
Please, I'm not the stage. The only actor. So this is really a serious question. How will you help me to go into myself so deeply that I understand and go beyond? Follow what I mean?
No, I don't follow what you mean. I understand how to help you go into it without depending on me.
I don't want to depend on you. I don't want to depend on anybody.
Okay, I can help you do that. We can discover together that you're depending on me, but I don't know how deeply this has to go.
So you have to inquire into dependence.
Okay,
Why am I depending? Security.
yeah.
Where is security? Is there such a thing as security?
Well, I have these experiences as I grew up that taught me what security is.
Yes, which is what? A projected idea,
Yes,
a principle,
yeah,
a belief, a faith, a dogma, or an ideal, which are all projected by me or by you, and I accept those. But they are unreal.
okay.
So can I push those away?
Yes. And then you're not depressed.
I'm dependent, and therefore I get angry, jealousy, all the rest of it. That dependence makes me attached, and that attachment is more. In that attachment, there's more fear, there's more anxiety, there's more. You follow?
Yes.
So, can you help me to be free, or find out what is true security? Is there a deep, abiding security? Not in furniture, not in a house, not in my wife or in some idea. Found deeply Is there such thing as complete security? Sorry, I'm taking all this.
So you're suggesting that if I simply work on this with you and you come to understand that you're dependent, that that's not sufficient because you won't have discovered any abiding security?
No. Because that's all I want. I've sought security in this house, and it doesn't. There's no security. I've sought security in my wife. There isn't any. Then I changed to another woman, but there isn't any either. Then I find security in a church, in a God, in a belief, in a faith, in some other symbol. So you see what is happening? You're all externalizing, if I can use that word, giving me security in things in which there are no security, in nations, all the rest of it. Could you help us to find out if there is complete security which is unshakable?
Are you suggesting this is one of our most fundamental needs and drives and activities?
I should think so.
So indeed it's a fundamental question as to whether this sense of abiding, unshakable security is possible.
Yes. Because if once you have that, there is no problem anymore.
Well, this isn't clear because then is it the individual that has that?
No. The individual can never have that security because he is in himself divisive.